After my personal struggle with food left me sick and suicidal, I was struck with the realization that food alone can't fix us. So I set out to discover what could, and what I found changed everything. After coaching thousands of clients and interviewing the world's leading experts, I realized it was time to start a bigger conversation. What are you really hungry for?
It's great.
Ooh, good one.
What am I really hungry for?
I love that question.
It's time to discover what you're really hungry for. This episode is brought to you by the Institute of Transformational Nutrition. ITN offers the first and only personalized nutrition certification program that's backed by science and proven to get clients actual results and coaches actual income. If you're ready to be proud of what you do, feel like you matter, make a difference in someone's life, and actually get paid for it, then visit transformationalnutrition.com to take your first class toward your certification for free. What's keeping you from healing the wounds of the past, from living the life you want to live, from feeling healthy and whole? Today, we're going to discuss the 7 barriers to healing and how you can overcome them. It's important to understand these barriers so that you don't get stuck living the same cycle over and over again, where you only deal with the symptoms and you never look at the root cause of why you're not fully healing. Barriers like stress, toxins, and misinterpretation of body signals like thirst, hunger, cravings, aches, and pains cause us to stay unhealthy and overwhelmed. We've become so unplugged from ourselves, from communicating effectively with our body, that we often don't even know what it's trying to tell us. When we learn to expertly tune into our body's signals, we can nurture it and give it exactly what it needs in order to heal. Have you ever been so frantic to find a solution to a problem that you took the first answer that looked good? Our culture has an epidemic of looking for the easy and the immediate answers to our problems. But often healing, true healing, is far more complex and intuitive of a process that is highly customized to an individual's needs. You see, we can't assume that something is going to work for us just because it worked for someone else. This is another reason that tuning into our unique body cues is so important. It helps us to discover what the right path is for our body. Know your body so that you will know what's best for it. I know that without addressing the root cause, it's impossible to fully heal and mend yourself, your body, your mind, and your soul. My guest today, Alicia Lynn Diaz, has helped hundreds of clients release illness and inner emotional blocks through her own technique called the Inner Mastery Process. She's a master at helping people discover how to get unstuck in their lives and overcome the barriers to healing. Alicia, thank you so much for being here with us today.
My pleasure.
So you've discovered what you call 7 barriers to healing. I want to know what those are, but first, tell me, how did you discover them? Tell me a little bit about your story and how you got to be here today.
Back a number of years ago, before I moved to Southern California, I was living in New York, and I was a clinical physiologist and working in this big hospital in Manhattan with rehab and helping people rehab from illness and disease and all these different things. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I was more of a Western practitioner. We'll talk more about Eastern and Western medicine, but I was a Western practitioner and clinically based. And even what I was practicing at that time, it was a little bit on the alternative side of healing, where we were using movement therapy to help people heal from illness, get them off medications and things like that. Around that time, though, I started experiencing really debilitating health problems. And so I was just getting these intense headaches, like migraines, really bad digestive problems, and really bad reproductive system disorders that none of my doctors could figure out what it was. Wow. They told me I would have to be on hormones for the rest of my life. Really frustrating prognosis.
Yeah, everything you didn't want to hear.
Yeah, exactly. At that time, all I knew was the pain. All I knew was that I couldn't get out of bed in the morning. All I knew was that I'm working with clients in the clinic, and I feel like I could either fall asleep standing because I was just all I wanted to do was run and hide. And all I knew was how to keep myself busy and how to keep going and how to push through the pain. It was most frustrating because I was already a practitioner.
Yeah.
And I thought I should have had the answers, especially that I was kind of in a little bit more of a alternative medical. I was considered a complementary alternative medical practitioner, and but I didn't have the answers. And so I went and studied yoga. I studied meditation. I started learning some of the more Eastern therapies, holistic therapies, and this introduced me to a system of Eastern Indian medicine called Ayurveda. So I started seeing signs of improvement at that time. I still didn't know that it was repressed trauma, but I started seeing signs of improvement and basically made a huge decision in my life to leave that career because it felt like this is the next stepping stone. Everything in my internal guidance was telling me, move in this direction. This is where you're going to find the answers that you're seeking. So I did. So I left New York. I headed west because that's where I was being guided to go.
Wow.
And along that journey, I got introduced to someone who gave me the blessed opportunity to study with a Vedic master in India. So then I ended up going to India.
Oh, wow.
And got to apprentice in a clinic with this healer who was the Ayurvedic doctor to the Dalai Lama and Mother Teresa, and just really, really steeped in his spiritual connection, but brilliant as a medical doctor, as a healer, as a physician in the way that, so he had this merging of the science and spirituality that really intrigued me. And so I apprenticed in his clinic, and I just saw miraculous healing after miraculous healing from people with chronic illnesses that said they would never, get well, or, all kinds of injuries and illnesses. He introduced me to my next mentor because he didn't have a school, so I ended up continuing my studies, and I got a practitioner degree as an Ayurvedic practitioner with another world-renowned master. So during that time, so this answers your question about how did you discover that it was repressed trauma.
Yeah.
What I found was that once I was able to, one, attune my body to the rhythms of nature so that it was safe enough to go into the trauma, and it actually had a strong enough foundation to experience or heal those places that previously I was just in too much pain to heal. So it gave me a framework of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual medicine to be able to bring about the greatest healing. And once I was in that place, the layers started gently and sometimes not gently unraveling, but it was like life was handing to me moment after moment what I could handle and move through at the time.
Wow. That's amazing. When you say sort of reconnect to nature, what does that mean exactly? What did you do?
The way that Eastern and Western medicine look at healing are a little bit different. And so reconnecting with nature is a very Eastern approach. Yes. So Western medicine is a reductionist approach. It goes deep, deep, deep into a very focal point, like a pinpoint, very, very specific aspect of a cell or a healing modality or pathogen. Where on the contrast, Eastern medicine looks at a bigger context for healing. So it doesn't want to know just what that one little thing is. It wants to know what is that one little thing in relation to everything else in life. So one of the ways you go about doing that is understanding your unique nature. So we look at our bodies are a microcosm to the macrocosm. So everything that exists in nature exists within us.
Yes. We don't look at, this physical condition is being created by this mental thing, by this emotional, this trauma that we don't think about those things, Alicia. We're like, oh, my leg hurts, my back hurts, I'm having digestive issues. And no one goes beyond that, but you did. So tell us how, tell us what you did. Tell us how we can do it too.
So we know in Eastern medicine, we're looking at the greater context of our existence. So there's a physical aspect, there's a mental aspect, there's an emotional aspect, and there's a spiritual aspect.
Okay.
So we look at those four aspects from an internal and an external perspective. So on the physical side, the internal barrier, physical, is something off in the DNA and the cellular programming. So that could look like a genetic predisposition from your family. Most people are really familiar with this one.
Yeah.
Our family history,
Totally.
what my genes say that I'm all about. It's the blueprint The whole field of epigenetics, however, shows us that we're actually can reprogram how the genes express. But that's the first barrier. So the second one with the physical side. So there's an internal manifestation of a physical barrier, and then there's an external manifestation. So how that manifests externally is through this, what I call the stress and constriction cycle. So when we are constantly in a place of frantically searching outside of ourselves for the answers, or we've repressed trauma or whatever the case is, it basically puts our body continually in a stress response, a fight, flight, or freeze response, which actually shuts down your body's ability to heal.
That makes sense.
So then the third one, as we go into, the mental aspect, so the internal manifestation of the mental one is how we interpret the signals that our body gives us. And a lot of times we misunderstand what our body's trying to tell us. Even pain is a messenger.
Yes.
So it's misinterpretation of the body signals. How that manifests externally is in that frantic searching. It's like, I can't find the answers, and I'm going to just go with what my friend told me was the best diet, or what this person is marketing to me, or whatever the case is. We lose our sovereign ability.
Yes.
So barrier 5 and 6 are the internal and external manifestations of the emotional landscape. So internally, how we are, either we had repressed trauma and that we're unavailable to feel because it feels so unsafe to experience the pain of it, and how that manifests externally is similar to the fight, flight, freeze response, putting you in a constant state of stress in your body. And then number 7, I don't categorize as internal, external, because it's the spiritual one. And this is our return to wholeness. And this is where the barrier to that is actually in someone's lack of ability to find the deeper root cause, to go after the deeper root cause and discover, maybe, where am I in this spectrum of all of these barriers? What is the biggest barrier to me experiencing my wholeness right now?
Right.
And in part of that, it's also this thing we tell ourselves in our mind that something's wrong, we have to fix it, let me go find the answer, the solution to my problem, versus what's going to, again, bring me back to wholeness. Healing, the word healing actually means returning to wholeness. It doesn't mean to fix what's broken.
Oh, I love that. It means return to wholeness, not fixing what's broken.
Yeah. So in Eastern medicine, particularly Ayurveda, the system of Indian medicine that I studied, there's 6 stages of disease progression.
Okay.
And in Western medicine, stages 4, 5, and 6 are what our diagnostic tools are refined enough to pick up.
Got it.
Stages 1, 2, and 3 are the more subtle stages that only you can pick up when you understand the body signals. So I'll give you a brief overview of what they are, just really briefly, just so you have an understanding of how disease manifests, and then I'll show you where the root cause comes into play, and then how you can dig deeper into the root cause.
Please,
Sound
yes,
good?
that sounds great.
Okay, perfect. So in stage 1, there's an accumulation of toxins, for example. We use toxins as an example. A lot of people think toxins are the root cause.
Yes.
So I'm going to show you how toxins aren't the root cause, that there's another root cause, but how they're still a very real cause and they still need to be addressed.
Okay.
So toxins accumulate in the system from the environment, from poor diet, from poor digestive ability, whatever the case is, they accumulate in the system in stage 1. In stage 2, we call this they're being provoked. So now it's almost like, imagine like a bucket of water, and the water's filling all the way up to the top, and it's about to spill over the edge. In stage 3, it's called spreading. That's when it does spill over to the edge.
Okay.
It's a gross analogy, but think of sewage pipes being backed up, right? Like backing up into your house.
Yeah.
Like this is actually what's happening in the body. So stage 3 is spreading. So now these toxins have overflowed into the blood system, and now they're circulating through your system. And they're in excess, and they're looking for somewhere to go because they don't have anywhere to go. They're supposed to be able to leave the body, but they can't leave the body. So in stage 4, this is called the deposition stage. Stage 4 is where the root cause comes in. Because you have 7 different types of bodily tissues. Now, these toxins are swirling in your blood system, and they're looking for a place to go. And they are going to go to the tissue that has a susceptibility, or that has been traumatized, or that has a predisposition, or that is somehow weaker than the rest. It's going to go to the weakest link.
Right. Can you talk just briefly, because I want to pick back up.
Perfect.
But we're talking about toxins, right?
Yeah.
And toxins in the body, and obviously the effect that can have. I hear a lot, I mean, detoxing is everywhere, right? It's like this big thing, and there's juice cleanses and all of these things. But then on the flip side of that, we hear, well, your body detoxes naturally. Your body has everything it needs to detox naturally. You have this thing called a liver, right? So how do you feel about that? And then, of course, the people with the detoxes say no, or say yes, like that does happen. But there's a point at which your body becomes so overloaded, it just can't do it all. It can't completely detox on its own. What do you believe?
So it's absolutely true that every single cell in your body has the ability to self-regulate, self-heal, to detox, all of that. What happens, though, is that cellular intelligence gets messed up. So when there's for example, when there's a flood of toxins in someone's system, and it's been like that for years, and your tissues have nothing else to grow from, but use this as the building blocks of their cells, they start to actually get confused because they're not made from a good substance. They're not made from a solid substance. So people might have toxins build up in their system for years and years and years, which actually clouds the cellular intelligence, which then reduces the body's natural ability to cleanse them.
I see. That makes sense.
And detox itself.
Right.
And so then it needs a little outside help, but the outside help should always be focused on increasing your body's own intelligence to be able to do it itself.
So basically supporting your body and doing it on its own, as opposed to trying to replace that functionality, essentially.
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes you need herbs and different ways to help remind your body how to do that.
Right.
But ultimately, you want to empower every single cell in your body to remember what it already knows how to do.
Remember how to already knows what to do. That's so good. Thank you. Thank you for clarification, or for the clarification around that. That's very helpful.
It's a great question.
Yeah. All right. So, and then what happens?
Okay. So we were at stage 4, deposition.
Stage 4, yep.
So I'll go into, every single cell in your body has what I call a gatekeeper. When we talk about cellular intelligence, every single cell has like a gatekeeper. And imagine like a little soldier, right, at the front of that tissue.
Yes.
That is like, you're allowed in, you're not allowed in.
Yeah.
What happens when there's energetic, emotional, or physical trauma to a certain tissue, the gatekeeper doesn't know how to do its job anymore.
Right.
Or it's weak and it gets bombarded by unwanted pathogens, substances, whatever it is, toxins.
So it doesn't have the ability to
It doesn't
keep them
have the
out.
ability.
Okay.
So that's the deeper root cause, not the fact that there were toxins and that they manifested into a tissue.
I see.
It's actually, and then stage 5 and 6 is literally just, it's manifestation and differentiation. And those are just kind of more clinical classifications of this process that we're talking about happening over longer periods of time and getting more complicated.
Got it.
So
that
that's
makes
where
sense.
Western medicine needs to probably help out at that point to help you reverse it. But what I'm most excited about is this stage, this stage 4, and how to really get to the subtle energetic beneath why that gatekeeper was weakened in the first place. Because if we can actually go in and repattern those cells to be stronger and to have greater cellular intelligence, then even if toxins come into your system, there's a less likelihood that they're going to deposit.
Right.
And then the rest of your body's going to have a much more efficient time at getting rid of them.
I love that. How do we do that? Like, what is a step by step, Alicia? Just break it down.
Let's go into that. So the definition of health, according to these Eastern ancient medical traditions, includes having optimized digestion, having optimized elimination so the body can rid toxins, having optimized bodily tissues, optimized organ function, all the things that we kind of know in the holistic medicine and even the Western medicine model. But it takes it a few steps further. And it says alignment with the subtle rhythms of nature, like we started talking about earlier, having the experience of bliss in the mind, in the emotions, and in the sense organs.
That sounds like so much fun. It's like I thought we were going to go to this serious, dark, deep place, but now I'm like, I can do that. I want some more bliss. That's so great.
We're actually talking about pleasure. Like it's actually experiencing pleasure through your eyes, experiencing pleasure through scent, through taste, through touch, through sound. That's part of the definition of health, of true health. And then having a healthy relationship with the mind, most people don't associate their mind with a pleasurable, blissful place, right? It's usually, until we really dive into understanding the nature of the mind and having a relationship with our mind, it's usually a pretty chaotic place. It was a totally chaotic, scary place for me.
Yeah, I think that's one of the last places people want to go. Yeah. You know, like I don't want to, because memories are stored there, you know, and thoughts, and it's stressful and it's hard, and like no one wants to be with that. We want to tune out, right? We want to numb out. We want to zone out. So but it's necessary.
Well, and that brings in part of the definition of health being bliss in the emotions, because our thoughts usually create uncomfortable emotions. And we're taught in our society that to experience emotion isn't good, isn't healthy. It's actually opposite of healthy. And so the truth is, like, emotions are energy in motion. Probably many of us have heard. And when we repress it, it actually constricts the energy in our body and prevents healing from happening. So allowing those energies to move is part of the definition of health. So there's a skill set that we haven't been taught growing up in this culture around having bliss or pleasure, you know, pleasurable experience and connecting with our mind, with our emotions, and with our senses. The other thing I want to say about senses is that toxins don't only come into our physical body through pollution and through the obvious ways of like poor food. It comes in through sensory bombardment. As well,
like a
flashing
noise
lights
pollution
and noise. Like we're constantly, you know, staring at these screens, and we have things pinging us constantly. Our attention and our nervous system, you know, gets overloaded, and that's actually a form of subtle toxicity in the body.
I'm so sensitive to things like that. I've said that before. It's like we'll go into a restaurant, if the lights are too bright, I just can't. Like I like to say that I'm allergic to fluorescent lighting.
I totally am allergic to
I am. I just can't do it. It's so. And I think the worst place is like a shopping mall, right? Because it's the smell and the lights and the music, and you're just like, are you kidding me? I feel like I should put on one of those, like, what are those hazmat suits, right? Just to like go into the mall. It's so crazy. So I don't go. It's just that simple. So you've broken down like a very robust system.
And there's one more part
and
of
you're
the
still not done.
To health. There's one more piece. So the really most unique aspect in terms of the definition of health, according to these ancient Eastern principles, is being firmly established in yourself, your capital S self, the higher truth of who you are. And this is the true place of wholeness. This is the place where someone gets to connect with that energy that's greater than them. It's with the energy that created them. And the reason it's included in the definition of health, it's because when we return to a connected place with the greater truth of who we are, our cells then remember how to do that too.
Whoa.
And so
that is so powerful because we do talk about remembering, right? Like just remember. But our cells remember too. This isn't just like a soulful mental exercise. It's physical.
It's actually a practice of embodiment.
Wow. So this is a lot, Alicia. Like this is, and it really is revolutionary. Like this is absolutely amazing. Just the wisdom that's in this package, this little earth suit that you're in. It's so crazy. So there's obviously this is a lot. Where do we start, right? And where maybe the bigger question is, or maybe the bigger question is, where do we start to see the biggest impact first? Because, we like to get immediate results. And look, there's a reason for that. And it's because we are in pain, right? And we're hurting and we're suffering. So if we find ourselves in this situation and we just want relief fast, within your framework, these 7 different areas, where do we start?
I want to share with you the thing that I wish I knew years ago before I started frantically searching for all the answers outside of myself, because there's one practice that was handed down to me from these enlightened masters that I studied with in India, that it's a practice that helps upgrade every single one of the barriers. So it's cross-contextual application to every single one of the barriers, regardless of if you were able to self-identify with where you are in the stages of healing or where you are in these barriers. This one practice will help with every single place. So you don't even have to figure it all out or take everything that I just shared and try to
so excited.
find out where
This
you
is
are.
like the Cliff Notes version.
It's a breathing practice.
Okay.
And the thing I want to say about the breath is that the breath is the intersection point between the subtle, energetic, and the manifested physical. So disease or imbalance or illness in the body, it always happens as an energetic first, just like nothing in this world was built without a thought first.
Sure.
A builder, had an idea of what to architect this building to look like, and then the builders created it. So it all started as a subtle energetic first. So this isn't some woo-woo concept. I'm just sharing this is the journey. But in the body, you have the ability in every single moment to tune into the breath, which is the intersection between your divine nature and your physical nature. So, and the reason I chose this particular breath practice to share with you is that it's the one that I've seen make the most rapid shift, the fastest, that's safe for anyone to do with any health situation. Some of the breath practices are not safe to do under any condition. And it actually repatterns the DNA and how the DNA expresses. I've seen it balance women's hormones who had hormones all over the place. I've seen people come off of anxiety medication as a result of this one practice. And I wanted to share all that first because it seems so simple. Oh, I just breathe and it's going to change all of this. Yeah, it's the thing that actually awakens every cell in your body to remember who it is. And it's a simple practice. And so I want to share with you exactly how to use it, when to do it, how often to do it, the length of time to do it.
So we can do it.
So you can do it.
I want to do it. Alicia, tell me how to do it.
Okay. Would you like to do it with me?
Sure.
Okay.
I'd love to.
So exhale all the air out from the belly. Take a full deep inhale so you feel your belly expand. And when you exhale, you're just going to exhale with a humming sound so that you can hear it. And it doesn't have to be loud, but you're just going to listen to it. And you're going to make the sound go as long as you can. And then you're going to take another inhale and you're going to do it again.
Okay.
So we'll just do one together.
Yeah, because I had to let my breath go. I was like,
oh, yeah, no. I needed to explain it. Sorry.
I couldn't wait. Okay, let's do that.
So we'll just do one together.
Okay.
And then the next step of it, which everyone can try on their own, is actually just holding your ears closed while you do it. Because it allows the vibration of sound to go internal instead of just coming out. It goes into your cells. It goes into your nervous system, and that's where the change is created. So we'll just do one together.
Yeah.
So exhale all your air out. And full deep breath in. Exhale with a hum. Good. And when you do it, do you feel the wave of stillness that comes over you? And you don't want to talk right away.
I know. It's just an instant calm. Do you feel it, right? You feel the energy?
Wow. Yeah. And And so
It's
that
magic.
that calm that you feel is what the gift that you give yourselves. And when you close your ears and do
So we can do the same thing, but just covering our ears.
And so that hum will travel internally into the nervous system to help balance the hormones, the neurotransmitters,
So wild.
just return cellular intelligence, it repatterns the root cause. I like to say that this breath is like the better than any adaptogenic herb that you could cultivate from anywhere on the planet, because it literally, the sound of hum, especially when you do it your own sound.
Yeah.
It's the same sound that is the buzzing of life. It's the sound associated with creation. And when you come back to that hum and you internalize it, it reminds your cells how to start over, how to start fresh, and how to be almost like reborn anew.
So good. So good. Wow. Oh, this is amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us.
My pleasure.
Alicia, thank you. Thank you for being here. You are such an amazing, amazing soul, and I just am truly, truly honored to have this experience with you. I mean, I feel you, like you are such a powerful, powerful being, and thank you for sharing that gift with us, what you've given us today. I have no words.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
so
Thank
much.
you.
It's an honor.
The honor is all mine. All mine. The name of the show, as you know, is What You're Really Hungry For. So tell me, Alicia, what are you really hungry for?
I'd have to say what's most alive for me in that question is I truly just want to continue experiencing greater expressions of my unique wholeness. Whatever that means moment to moment as I evolve throughout my life, just harnessing my uniqueness and, being in that expression and being in that creation and that creative energy and just helping others do the same. So whatever wholeness is for myself, I want to experience more of that, and I want to give permission to others to experience their unique expression of wholeness.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you again for being here. Thank you for being that light. Thank you for being you.
Thank you, Cynthia.
This week is all about overcoming barriers to healing. We discussed each of these 7 barriers to vibrant health. So I invite you to choose one of Alicia's tips that she discussed during our show and start implementing it in your life today. As always, the conversation continues at cynthiapasquella.com. Head on over and leave a comment below this video telling me the one action that you will take today to break through these 7 barriers and achieve long-lasting health. What one barrier did you identify with more than the others? Did you like this video? If so, please subscribe and then share it with your friends. And if you want to hear more from me, including things that I only share in email, then head on over to cynthiapasquella.com and sign up for my email newsletter so you can become a part of this beautiful community of women who are discovering what they're really hungry for. On next week's episode of What You're Really Hungry For.
And it got to a point where things started to come to a head, and I realized that there was more to life than just focusing on this part, and maybe like a little bit of this could be good.
What a concept.
Right?
The Institute of Transformational Nutrition offers the first and only personalized nutrition certification program that's backed by science and proven to get clients actual results and coaches actual income. If you're ready to be proud of what you do, feel like you matter, make a difference in someone's life, and actually get paid for it, then visit transformationalnutrition.com to take your first class toward your certification for free.